I have a feeling that this video is going to be way too long. I was planning on making this video probably next week because that's when I really started getting sick, but I feel like, ironically enough, the fact that I am feeling so unbelievably awful right now makes me want to kind of relate to how I felt last year, and I feel like yeah, I've talked about what happened to me, but I don't think I've talked enough about it. All right. So, many of you already know that I want to say it was about 7 years ago, my stomach ended up dying, and what it's called is gastroparesis, and I had spent an entire year throwing up, bedridden, lost a lot of weight, almost lost my life, and it was totally due to my negligence because I am diabetic, and I got diagnosed when I was 15 years old. And when you're 15 years old, you're, invincible. And even up into 18, even early 20s, you think that nothing is going to get you, nothing's going to affect you, nothing's gonna harm or hurt you. And I totally, completely neglected my own health, which caused my stomach to die. And long story short, after being on a feeding tube for a couple months, which kept me alive the first time around, I ended up getting a gastric pacemaker, and it saved my life. It was a really long year of just being miserable, and without that, I don't think that I would be here. The gastric pacemaker was very experimental. Not many people have the option to get it, and I had to really fight with my insurance company at the time to get it, and it took probably, I want to say, 9 solid months to work, but it worked, and I had a 50-50 chance of it working. So now the battery life in the pacemaker should last anywhere from 7 to 10 years, but the issue with that is that they had put my pacemaker up to the highest capacity it could possibly be at because my stomach was not digesting unless it was up that high. So, I have this pacemaker in me, and it's been 5 years, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I started feeling sick again, like I did last time. It starts off where you're tired, and you're nauseous, and you're aching, and food is appealing, but it's not appealing, and you go and eat it, and then you're full, and then all of a sudden you're throwing up again, and I knew. I knew right away. I was like, shit, either the battery's dead or it is dying. And I had let my doctors know right away, maybe not right away, but soon enough. I thought that that's what was going on, and blah, 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 and right off the bat, they're like, no way, the pacemaker should last, 7 to 10 years, but we'll come in and we'll monitor it, and we'll see what's going on. So, of course, when they finally see me and they monitor the pacemaker. Oh, you're right. It is dead. It needs to be replaced. The battery needs to be replaced. So let's get that ball rolling. Well, since I was 26 at the time, so I'm finally under my own health insurance. So my health insurance is unfamiliar with my case. They did not want to replace the battery, and the battery alone was like $20,000. The surgery would have been an astronomical number. So it was pretty much fighting with my insurance company as to why I needed this surgery and to make it snappy, because I was already suffering. I was already losing weight, already throwing up, already in pain, already in agony. And like, gastroparesis is different than, you know, when people normally, let's say, get a virus or the flu and start throwing up. Like, the throwing up is violent. It is retching. It almost feels like your stomach is about to come out of you and just fly across the room. So I spent, I want to say, 2 months at least just violently throwing up and hardly holding anything down. And then the surgery was finally approved, and then I went and get the surgery, and I'm worse. Like, way worse than I was before the battery was replaced. And the suggestion was maybe your body just has to adjust to it turning back on again, and you'll be good. You'll be better. We'll just wait it out and see what happens. Okay, sorry, I'm like really antsy, and I'm very uncomfortable telling this story just because it's not easy to talk about. It's not easy to fucking talk about, ever. I usually try to laugh it off and make a joke about it, like, at least I'm here now, but no, like, I don't people could even understand what it was like. Like, even the people that were around me all the time, everybody that saw me in the hospital, every doctor I had to deal with, I don't think that anyone can really understand what that felt like. It's hard to even want to go there. Like, I ignore it a lot, and I try not to think too much about it, and I feel like because I feel the way I do right now, I'm thinking a lot about it more than I want to think about it. Okay, get back on track here. Tell the story. Stop avoiding what you wanted to do in the first place, right? You know, my battery was replaced, as I said. They wanted me to kind of wait it out and see if I got better, but I got so much worse. I was throwing up all day, every day. It almost just felt like it was never gonna stop. It was just so painful and horrible, and I tried really hard the first couple months to just be like, you know, things are gonna get better. This isn't gonna be forever. I'm gonna be fine. Eventually, this pacemaker is gonna do what it did last time. It's gonna kick back in, and I'll be okay. But that wasn't the case at all. Not at all. And as time went on, I noticed that I started feeling the pacemaker somewhere I'd never felt it before. I felt it pulsing somewhere that just didn't feel right, and I had brought this up to my doctor, and I should say gastroenterologist, and he flat out told me right away, that's impossible. Like, that can't happen. Everything is sutured so perfectly where everything needs to be. Like, there's no way that anything is wrong or messed up. So, I take his word for it, and I'm like, okay, that's weird, but okay. And I go home, and I continue to throw up and throw up and throw up and fucking throw the fuck up over and over and over. I don't think that anybody can imagine throwing up every fucking day, every day, for 6 months. I really don't. And like, I've heard people complain about throwing up for 24 hours, and I'm like, imagine doing that literally every goddamn day and night, from start to finish. Not even. It's just never-ending cycle. It's just you don't even get a break. And once you think you have a break, once you think that maybe today's the day I'm not going to throw up, all of a sudden it just creeps back up on you, and you cannot even hold down a sip of water. Like, I was so malnourished, and like my fucking head was so messed up. I mean, obviously my body was very messed up, but my head was just not there. And sadly, like, the only thing that kept me sane was having to take fucking Ativan. I'm sorry, I'm saying that word a lot. I'm just very upset, clearly. But seriously, if I wasn't taking Ativan, I think I would have been 20 million times more out of my mind. Like, it was so hard to just cope. It was hard. It was just hard to want to live. And I hate saying that. I've always hated saying that. Anytime I tell this story, like, I freaking... hated that it was hard to want to live. I feel like there's only so much that people can take, and I got to a point where I just, like, I had enough. I was done. I had enough. And I had again mentioned the pacemaker thing to a few more of my doctors. Is there any fucking way that this pacemaker is just not where it's supposed to be? Is one of my leads messed up? Is something just not right? Because it doesn't feel right inside of me. And every single time it's like, no, that can't happen. That can't happen. And just brush it off and send me home. And it got to the point where I'm in and out of the hospital. Like, everyone's trying to figure out what they can do for me, and there's literally nothing that anyone can do, and they just want to turn you into this experiment. Try this, try that, do this, do that, do this and that, and try this and that, and this pill and that pill, and this drug, and da-da-da-da-da. Like, just fix me. Just fucking fix me. But apparently, it's not that simple, and I feel like a big breaking point for me was, I went to my I can speak right. I went to my gastroenterologist, and I was just like, I'm gonna ask him one more time, even though I've asked this question several times. One more time's gonna do it. And I was like, you're really sure that there's no way that this thing is not messed up? And he's like, honestly, I feel like your gastroparesis has gotten worse. There's nothing we can do for you at this rate. If nothing is working for you, if no medication is working for you, he's like, so you might as well just go home and wait it out. Excuse me? You want me to go home and wait it out? Do you see how little I am right now? Do you see that I can hardly hold my head up? Do you see that the color of my skin is grayish yellow? Is that okay to you? Like, you want me to go home and die? Is that what you're saying to me? Because that's kind of what it sounds like. And I feel like that's when that's when I really started to give up. Like, if you can't fix me and you have no faith in me and you don't know what's going on and there's nothing more that you can do, you were my solution. Last time you were the solution to my problem. I already know what the problem is. I already know what helped me last time. So there's literally nothing else to look forward to. There's no hope. There's no saving me, is what you're telling me. Like, no matter what I do, no matter where I go, no one's gonna have answers for me. Nobody. At that rate. I honestly feel like that's the worst thing that you could tell to one of your patients. I don't know. I mean, maybe he was just being honest, but I knew within myself that there was something wrong with me, and I knew what was wrong with me, and I was just so frustrated that nobody wanted to listen to me. And, like, I spent, so many nights crying and, like, just begging God to just take me. Just please take me. I don't want to do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. Who would want to do that, Like, why would you want to do that? And just, if that's gonna be your life forever until you actually die from malnutrition, like, nobody wants that. And then I would get so scared and I would just beg God to fix me and let me stay. I didn't know what I wanted. Then again, I never know what I want in life anyway, but that's besides the point. I spent so much time just taking showers over and over and over and over and over, holding myself and telling myself that I was sorry. I was sorry for letting it get that bad. I was sorry because it was my own fault. I was sorry that I couldn't help myself. I was sorry that I wanted to die. Even though I didn't. What's even more freaking messed up is that, I planned out exactly how I was going to go, what I was going to say, and that's not like me. I love life too much to want to die, but I had enough. You can only stay strong for so long, and then you just can't take it anymore. I was gonna just down a bunch of the pills that I was given all at the same time, and just was gonna write my boyfriend really, really, really long letter and thank him for taking care of me the entire time, and apologize over and over again for the fact that I just couldn't do it anymore, and that I wasted his time. And I was gonna write
to just my immediate family. And kind of just, I don't really know what I was going to say to my friends, because I knew that really upset them, upset everyone. But I just could not live in my body anymore. I just couldn't be stuck, trapped in this ill body that was just never, or seemingly never, going to get better. I felt stuck. So stuck. Really. It got to the point that I knew if I didn't do something soon, I was going to absolutely die. Like, not even being dramatic, like, I knew my body was shutting down. I couldn't keep anything inside of me, and I just felt so weak. I could hardly walk. I could hardly do anything. I just remember standing up and my heart would start racing, and I would just feel like if I could just make it to the bathroom, if I could just make it out to the car, if I could just make it out anywhere. Like, my only time outside was go see this doctor, go to that hospital, go to this hospital. Like, it was never, I get to go outside and, like, do something. Even if I could, I didn't want to, because I felt that horrible that I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to be at home. And if I was gonna die, I just wanted to die at home. I just wanted the comfort of that, and solely that. I didn't want to keep going to this hospital and that hospital and try this and try that, and I gave up at that rate. I really did. But through my 5 zillion shower escapades, I was sitting down at the bottom of the shower because standing up, I couldn't do it. I was too weak. And I was holding myself. And this voice inside of my head said, I know you don't want to do this, but you need to go back on a feeding tube. And I just, shut up. Like, shut up. Like, I don't want to hear this. You don't want to do that. That surgery was so painful, and who the freak wants to live on a feeding tube the rest of their life? Not to mention, having a J tube, those things hardly ever want to stay inside of you. I'm just letting you know right now, they like to pop right back out, and I will get to that soon. But I accepted what the little voice in my head had said to me, and was like, okay, if that's what I need to do, if that's what's going to keep me here and prevent me from taking my own life, which I do not believe in, okay, all right. So I kind of just sat around with my grandma, my mom, my boyfriend, my best friend, who flew in from Texas because she's incredible, and told them what was going on. And I kind of just like, I just want, one more night at home. I will admit myself into the hospital the following day. I will get the surgery, blah, blah, blah. Okay. That night, my body just started shutting down. I could barely breathe. I couldn't feel from my hips down to my toes. My heart was beating a very strange way, and luckily, my boyfriend came into the bedroom when he did, and was just like, what's going on with you? Like, what's wrong? And I could hardly speak, and he knew right away that I needed to go to the emergency room, and thank God he just put my clothes on for me because I couldn't do it, and carried me out to the car and sped to the nearest hospital and carried me inside and got me in a wheelchair and spoke for me because I couldn't even talk. And I just remember my whole entire hand just kind of like clenched up like this, and you could see everything bulging out in both of my arms, and I was really scared because I was so dehydrated. And you know, thank God Kingston Hospital kind of just pumped me with IV bags and sort of got me where I needed to be. And they transferred me to Westchester Medical that night, which is where I was going to get the J-tube, because I wanted my doctor, my surgeon, to do the surgery. I was like, he is the only person that knows my body. He knows about this pacemaker. He knows what it's supposed to look like. He's well aware of everything. And if anything is wrong with it, or if anything happens to go wrong, he's going to know how to correct the situation. So I will not get the surgery unless he does it. So I waited for my lovely angel. Yeah. So I'm at Westchester, and naturally there's a bunch of miscommunication about why I'm there, and they don't want to give me a J-tube. They want to put a feeding tube up my nose, down my throat. They want to give me medication, but they're like, we don't want to give you that surgery because it's a very intense surgery and you're so malnourished that if you go under, you're not going to wake up. I'm sorry, people keep texting me and it's really annoying me, and I keep trying to clear the screen because it's just annoying. Anyway, so I'm just like, okay. Also, they wanted to put me on TPN, and half of the staff was like, that's gonna kill you, it's very dangerous, and the other half was like, that's what you need to do in order to get your nutrition up so that way you can undergo surgery if we decide that's what we're gonna do. So there's this whole, excuse me, in my bad mouth, clusterfuck of shit going on, to the point where I'm like, all right, listen up, people. Like, I've had enough. I've literally had enough. This is my body. This is my health. I want a fucking J-tube in me. I want the surgery. I want my doctor to do the surgery. So that's what's gonna happen. I want the feeding tube that you stuck down my nose out of me because it's fucking painful and stupid, and I keep barfing up all the shit that you're trying to pump into my stomach when my stomach is fucking dead and not working. So what the freak ever. So I've had it at this rate. Every doctor is just telling me one story, doing a different thing. It got to the point where they were so mad at me that they gave me a whole new team of people, which, thank you. That's what I wanted, because you guys are not working with me. And finally it got to the point where I got the TPN, yes, and I didn't die. I got my nutrition up. Also, side note, I had the most amazing roommate ever, and I miss her all the time, and she was the first roommate I ever became friends with, and she used to sneak me ice cream all the time because it was the only thing I did not throw up. But that, we'll get back to my story. Anyway, Dr. Cherubona, I guess I'll mention his name, finally came in to visit me before the surgery and kind of went over the surgery. I go, listen, I've had it before, it saved me before, I'm ready to do it. And again, Carissa and her wonderful, infamous question, Dr. Cherubona, is there any way that one of my leads is off of my stomach and messing me up? He got so mad at me, so mad, and shut me up right away and left the room. And I just felt really hurt. I felt really, really hurt. And then I had a man on the phone at the hospital with me talking about my pacemaker, and he actually specializes in the pacemaker, remembered me, and apparently he was there for the surgery. he was the only person that said, hey, maybe there is something wrong with one of the leads. Maybe one of them did come off. Maybe that is what's got you all messed up. But he's like, it's just weird to me because I'm monitoring it through the phone and everything looks fine. Keep that in mind. So, the day comes for me to get the J-tube. I talk to my doctor, and thank God, he's like, listen, we're going to try to use the same hole that you had before. We're not going to try to slice you open and move things over and blah, 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 blah. He's like, but if we have to, that's what we're going to have to do. And I was just like, please don't give me a third belly button. 2 is enough. Like, please just be able to use it. And as you all know, I posted this part of my story that I'm going to tell again. You know, after I got the J-tube. But, you know, I wake up from my surgery and my mom is freaking out and she's crying and she's losing her damn mind, and I'm like, what is going on? She's like, you're right. I'm like, I'm so out of it. I'm so drugged up. I'm like, right about what? She's like, your pacemaker, the leads were down in your intestine. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I really thought she was just like fucking with me. But no, like, she whips out these 2 disgusting pictures of my intestines, and the wire came off of my stomach because I was violently throwing up so much, went down into my intestines wrapped itself around the lead and was cutting off my circulation, which was making me vomit over and over and over and over and over again. And I freaking couldn't believe it. I'm like, I fucking knew this entire fucking time. I knew exactly what was wrong with me, and nobody, not a freaking soul, wanted to listen to me. Like, how goddamn not only frustrating, but insulting is that? Like, I know my own body. I know what's going on. What the fork? Like, anyway, back to whatever I was saying. Apparently my surgeon, never in the 20 years that he's been doing the surgery, has ever seen it before, not once, and he literally called my mom right after the surgery and was saying that he needed to see her immediately, and my mom is running through the hospital. He's running to her before he goes to another surgery. He's like, I think I found the problem. I think I fixed her. I don't really know, but I really hope that, you know, I fixed her. And, God. Having that surgery was very freaking painful. It was not fun. 10 out of 10. Would not recommend. Not serious. I would probably recommend it. But I personally would not want to do it again, ever. So I don't even know how long it took, again, for this pacemaker to be like, hey, I'm working, I'm doing my thing, you're digesting food, blah, 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 blah. But eventually it kicked in, and it was just like this giant weight had been lifted off of my shoulders, and I was like, holy shit, like, I'm going to be normal again. I'm going to be able to enjoy eating food again. I'm going to be able to walk again. I'm going to be able to go outside again. I'm going to be able to do the things that I love to do. And it was just like, thank God I didn't take my own life. Thank God I didn't just give up. Thank God I held on just a little bit longer and just tolerated all the fucking fucked up bullshit that every doctor put me through. Like, thank God that I didn't just say, I really can't do this anymore. I give up. I completely give up. Like, I was really so close to just saying, forget it. I don't want to do this ever again. I don't want to do this anymore. I cannot take another minute of this torture. I cannot stand another minute of being in agony. And the comical, I guess, part of this whole situation, so I have this feeding tube. I'm starting to hold down food. I mean, like, one of the first real vivid memories I have of eating food was I went out to eat pizza with my girlfriend Audrey, and if I can freaking hold down pizza, I can hold down anything. And I ate that goddamn pizza. I ate 2 pieces and I was full, and it was not only the most amazing thing in my mouth ever, but it stayed, and it was so good. Now I want pizza. That's besides the point. I don't even know what I wanted to say next. I remember what I wanted to say. So I start eating food. I can only eat once a day because my stomach's probably like this big and can hardly tolerate anything. And my friend Amber flew in from Texas again with her boyfriend, who is now actually her fiance, which is really exciting. And all of a sudden my freak-fracking feeding tube pops out of me. And you know what? This has happened to me before. The first time I had the surgery, the damn thing popped out of me on Valentine's Day. So I knew, go to the emergency room right away, get it put back in you. We're not even going to get into that story because they had no idea how to put it back in. They did put it back in, but it was a scary situation. There was a lot of me saying the F word because it hurt really bad. But they got it back in, and I said to myself, if this thing comes out of me again, we're done. This feeding tube is done. I'm holding down food, and it's maybe me only eating once a day, but I'm holding down food. So if this thing magically comes out of me, we're breaking up. It's over. The next morning, I'm in the shower, and I bend down to grab my shampoo, and all of a sudden, the tube goes from being this big sticking out of me to you get the point. And I'm like, oh shit, this thing's about to fucking pop. And it did. Balloon pops, it comes out of me. I was like, all right, I have a gaping hole in me, and I'm oozing shit out, and that's how it's gonna go. And I'm not even shitting you, I just took a bunch of gauze and I taped it all around my stomach, and I went apple picking that day, and it was really great. And then the next day, I went exploring, and I bounced back from this like nothing ever happened to me, and I am a crazy person for that. But yeah, I don't really know my point in sharing this story. Maybe it's because somebody's gonna hear it and be like, holy shit, I'm going through what you went through, and I'm really ill, and I have gastroparesis, and what step do I take to save myself? Or maybe it's just because I want people to be aware of people that are ill that don't really look ill. I don't really know, but I needed to talk about this. I've held it in for a long time. I didn't even say half the shit I wanted to say because I'd have myself crying and probably you crying even more than we're probably crying together right now. So I don't need to do that, but I'm just gonna let you know that it was a horrific 6 months. I don't know how my boyfriend or my family or my friends dealt with it. I went missing for a very long time. I could not speak to anybody. All I did was hang out in my room and vomit, hang out in the hospital, vomit. My mom tried to have me at her place and I just wanted to be home. My grandma tried to have me at her place. I just wanted to be home, and vomited and vomit and vomit and vomit until I died. Thank God I'm here, we're good, I didn't die. But yeah, that's basically what happened a year ago now. I'm happy that I've put some weight on. I look like a normal functioning human, kind of. My brain is not so messed up. I'm grateful. Beyond grateful. And I feel like people really need to just listen to themselves and be their own advocate and really fight for what they want and what they need, especially in terms of health, because no doctor wants to listen to anybody, and they're they're always right. And no, they're not always right, is the point. They don't know what's going on all the time, and you're allowed to speak up and demand what you want and need, and just really trust your gut instinct, because I knew when my battery was dying, and I knew what was going on when the thing was turned back on, and nobody wanted to fucking listen to me at all. And that's freaking frustrating, and I'm sure many people have experienced a lot of frustrating moments like this in healthcare.